Hey, sweetie pies. How is everyone doing today? I am so excited to be with you and to share a different story with you today, a new story with you. So, hopefully, you are ready to hear a really exciting story today from the Spark Story Bible. And hopefully, you have your Legos all ready to build. So, as you listen to my story, be thinking about the different maybe characters or scenes or actions that you can be building with your Legos when we're all finished. And then, as you know, when you're all done building, I would love to see a picture or a video or a Marco Polo or however you would like to send that to me. I would love to see a video of what you built. Or I love to see a picture of what you built, excuse me. So today we're going to read a story called Daniel and the Lion's Den. And for some reason, I got to thinking, this might be another story that we've never read before. I don't know. But it's exciting. If you've never heard it, get ready, because wow. So remember last video we talked about Old Testament versus New Testament, and there we have two of those in the Bible, right? And the Old Testament, those are the stories about Israel, about God's chosen people. And then the New Testament, those stories tend to be more about Jesus and the beginnings of the church. And so this is another story that can be found in the Old Testament, in the stories about Israel and their relationship, their friendship, their love with God. And so Daniel, you will find, or I don't know if the Spark story will tell us this, but Daniel was called a prophet. And all that means is that he believed that God was using him to tell other people, to warn other people, to basically say, you know what, you better get it together. You better follow God. You better love God. Otherwise, all this stuff you're doing, it's just not going to turn out so good. So Daniel was probably not always well liked, maybe, because a lot of times people don't like to be told what to do they? Do you like to be told what to do? Like right when you're in the middle of like the best thing ever, and then mom or dad or grandma or grandpa say, guess what? It's time to clean your room. And you're thinking, oh, who wants to do that, right? I'm in the middle of this most exciting thing. Well, that's kind of how prophets were, right? People were doing what they wanted to do. They were having a good time. Life was great. And then these prophets, like Daniel, they came along and they said, God really doesn't want you to do that. This is what God really wants you to do. So they were thinking, oh, come on, right? I'm having the time of my life. Don't tell me what to do. So Daniel wasn't very liked. I don't think a lot of people really liked prophets, sadly. So this story, I'm just going to jump right in because I don't know if we've ever read it together. Maybe you've read it at home with your family, or maybe you've even seen like a little video on it. You know, I love VeggieTale videos, just so you know. And they're on YouTube most of the time. And I bet there's a VeggieTale video for this. I don't know for sure, but I bet there is. So, but this is called Daniel and the Lion's Den from our Spark Story Bible, okay? Daniel loved God. He prayed every day and tried to live as God told him to. Daniel knew that no matter what, God was always with him. Daniel's good friend, King Darius, I have a feeling that's King Darius, right? Probably Daniel, King Darius. Daniel's good friend, King Darius, put Daniel in charge of many things in his kingdom. Some men got very jealous of Daniel and decided to get him in trouble. They thought, we'll get Daniel yet. We'll get him. the men tricked the king into making a law that everyone had to pray to King Darius and not to God. This sounds a lot like our last story with King Nebuchadnezzar and Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego, where King Nebuchadnezzar wanted them to bow down to him. This sounds really familiar, doesn't it? But this time, it's a group of men that wanted everyone to pray to King Darius and not to God. Anyone who broke this law would be placed into a den filled with lions. Lions, scary lions. Daniel was very afraid of lions. I think most people are. But he prayed to God anyway, not to King Darius. Daniel knew he could get into big trouble, and he also knew that God would always be with him. Trouble came quickly. The men who tricked King Darius saw Daniel praying. Aha! They said, we've got him. Now he won't be the king's favorite. They went to tell the king, King Darius, Daniel is praying to his God instead of to you. King Darius looked puzzled. Daniel always prayed to his God. What was the big deal? Then the men reminded him, you must put Daniel into the lion's den. You made it a law, remember? Look at him, they're all, Oh no. King Darius didn't want to put Daniel in the lion's den. He didn't want Daniel to be hurt. But King Darius, he had to follow his own law. Daniel was put in with the lions. King Darius said, I hope your God helps you. He went home and stayed awake all night worrying about Daniel. This is not looking good for Daniel. Look at all these lions. In the lion's den, it was dark and scary. Lions growled all around Daniel. Daniel prayed, God, I know you are with me. Please help me. God was with Daniel. At sunrise, King Darius hurried to the lion's den and had it opened. Daniel, he called, are you there? Did your God save you? Daniel answered, I'm here. God kept the lions from hurting me. God always keeps me safe. King Darius was overjoyed to see his friend. From that day on, King Darius believed in God. And look at this picture. This picture makes me laugh of Daniel. Forgot his name for a second. I was going to say King Darius, but of Daniel. He's got his hands up. He's like, I'm here, people. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. I made it. God saved me. Right? God kept the lions from hurting me. Look at his hands just raised in the air. I just love that question. And the question in the Spark Story Bible says, how do you know that God is always with you, even in the hard times? Have you ever thought about that before? How do you know that God is always with you? It's kind of tough. We don't always see God, right? God, it's not like we can see God sitting right next to us, or it's not like we can always hear God audibly with our ears. And so sometimes it's hard to know that God is always with us. But God promises that he's always with us, right? And we know that God's Spirit lives inside of us. And there are many times we can feel God's Spirit when we feel peaceful and when we feel joyful and happy and calm, right? Maybe Maybe those are the ways that we know that God is there. Maybe God shows up to us in a story, like from the Spark Story Bible, or maybe in words that you hear at church, or words that your family speaks, or prayers that your family says. Maybe that's how you feel God. So I wonder, I have some wondering questions for you because you know I love those. So I wonder if you have ever felt like you were the very, very best at something, right? In our story today, Daniel, he was trusted by King Darius, wasn't he? King Darius really, really liked Daniel. And that made those men very, very jealous, didn't it? But I wonder if you've ever felt like you were the very best at something. You did something so well. I wonder if you've ever been jealous of someone. The men, they were jealous of Daniel, weren't they? Have you ever felt jealous of someone? Maybe a sister or a brother. They got a bigger slice of cake at dinner than you did, or for dessert. I wonder if you have ever known someone who has tried to make bad or unfair rules. Like the men in our story today, they made unfair rules, right? They made bad rules that everyone should pray to King Darius and not to God. Have you ever known anybody who's made a bad or unfair rule? I think I have. I wonder what you might build with your blocks today, with your Legos. I'm thinking a lion's den. I'm thinking some lions. I'm thinking Daniel. I'm thinking King Darius. I'm thinking that what you could build here is endless. Will you please show me? I would love to see it. Will you pray with me? God, give us your power and your truth. Protect us from the dangers of this world and make us willing to learn more and more about you each day. We love you, God. Amen. Miss Jen loves you. Mwah, 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 mwah. High fives, fist bumps, hugs. I feel like I'm doing a boxing workout when I do that. But I love you all very much, and I miss you. Can't wait to see what you build with Daniel and the Lion's Den. Have a fantabulous week, my love bugs. Bye.